Welcome. You're about to step into a world where headlines become history, and the fate of nations is shaped not by theory, but by action on the open sea. Today, we confront reality. No wishful thinking, just the hard facts as of July 24, 2025. The world is watching, and every decision made here could echo for decades. In the South China Sea, a high-stakes contest is underway between China and the Philippines. This is not just a regional dispute, it's a test of resolve, strategy, and international law. This isn't about taking sides, but understanding the strategic landscape and the immense pressures shaping this maritime flashpoint. The world's eyes are fixed on these waters where every maneuver is scrutinized. The Philippines versus China is a lesson in asymmetric power. A massive, modern Chinese navy against a smaller Philippine fleet, bolstered by key alliances. It's a classic confrontation of scale versus ingenuity, where every ship and every alliance counts. We'll break down the numbers, hardware, doctrines, and tactics that define this struggle. From missile ranges to radar coverage, every detail matters in this chess game at sea. Modern conflict is complex, fought in the gray zone between peace and war. Logistics, law, and public perception all matter. Behind every headline, there's a web of supply chains, legal arguments, and information battles. China asserts its claims with overwhelming presence. The Philippines counters with legal challenges and international support. The battle is waged not just with ships, but with words, alliances, and global opinion. This is a David versus Goliath story, except David has powerful friends. The Philippines stands firm, backed by a coalition of nations determined to uphold the rules-based order. We'll explore China's island fortresses, engineered to project power and control vital sea lanes, reshaping the geography of conflict. The Philippines' new missile frigates, symbols of a modernizing navy determined to defend its sovereignty and adapt to new threats. And the critical roles of the US, France, Japan, and Australia. These alliances bring advanced technology, intelligence, and a united front to the region. By the end, you'll understand the forces at play, the risks of miscalculation, and why this struggle matters globally. The South China Sea is more than a battleground. It's a crossroads of commerce, security, and the future of international order. Let's dive into the unvarnished truth of the South China Sea naval clash. Prepare to see beyond the headlines and into the heart of the conflict. The stakes are real, and the consequences ripple far beyond Asia. What happens here could shape the world's future for generations to come. By 2025, China's Navy, known as the People's Liberation Army Navy or PLAN, stands as the world's largest by hull count, a remarkable transformation from just a few decades ago. With a staggering fleet of over 370 warships and a rapidly expanding submarine force, China's maritime power is unmatched in the region and continues to grow at an unprecedented pace. Its trio of aircraft carriers, Liaoning, Shandong, and the cutting-edge Fujian, project Chinese influence far beyond its shores, allowing the plan to operate deep into the Pacific and challenge traditional naval powers. The plan's formidable Type 055 destroyers, bristling with advanced sensors and missiles, rival the most sophisticated warships in the world and serve as the backbone of China's surface fleet. These are supported by a modern array of frigates, agile corvettes, and powerful amphibious assault ships, giving China a flexible and balanced naval force capable of a wide range of missions. China's arsenal includes anti-access and area denial weapons like the DF-21D carrier killer missile, specifically designed to keep foreign navies at bay and deter intervention in regional disputes. In the South China Sea, artificial island bases in the Spratlys and Paracels have been transformed into militarized fortresses equipped with runways, deep water ports, radar arrays, and advanced missile systems. These fortified outposts provide China with vital logistics, persistent surveillance, and the ability to project power and influence across the heart of the South China Sea. The plan, working alongside the Chinese Coast Guard and a vast maritime militia, aggressively enforces China's sweeping territorial claims, often intimidating regional rivals and challenging international norms of freedom of navigation. This overwhelming and coordinated maritime force ensures that China holds a dominant position in any local confrontation, reshaping the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. The Philippine Navy, with around 80 vessels, is outnumbered and outgunned by China. For years it relied on aging ships, but now it's modernizing, not to match China, but to deter aggression and defend its waters. The new Jose Rizal-class frigates, equipped with modern sensors and missiles, are the fleet's crown jewels. Fast Acero-class attack craft boost coastal patrols and rapid response. The BrahMos supersonic missile system acquired from India gives the Philippines a powerful coastal defense. Submarine acquisition plans are underway, aiming for a stealthy edge. Despite budget constraints, the focus is on making any attack costly for China. The strategy, active archipelagic defense, leveraging technology, geography, and alliances. The goal isn't victory in open battle, but credible deterrence. China's main tactic is gray zone coercion, hostile actions that stop short of open war. The China Coast Guard and Maritime militia work together to overwhelm and intimidate Filipino forces. Large Coast Guard cutters use aggressive maneuvers and water cannons to block Philippine vessels, especially at Second Thomas Shoal. The Maritime militia, disguised as fishing boats, swarm contested areas and harass Filipino fishermen. This civilian front creates ambiguity, complicating the Philippines' response. Every resupply mission becomes a dangerous standoff, with China keeping just below the threshold that would trigger U.S. intervention. The goal: wear down Filipino resolve and create a sense of inevitability about Chinese control. It's a campaign of psychological and physical attrition. The Philippines' defense hinges on alliances, especially with the United States under the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty. The U.S. has reaffirmed its commitment, making clear that attacks on Philippine forces in the South China Sea will trigger a response. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement gives U.S. forces access to key Philippine bases, boosting readiness and deterrence. Beyond the U.S., the Philippines is deepening ties with Japan and Australia, gaining equipment, training, and joint exercises. These partnerships create a layered defense network and complicate China's calculations. Diplomatically, Manila internationalizes the dispute, rallying global support and exposing China's tactics. Publicizing Chinese harassment and conducting joint patrols keeps the world's attention focused. This diplomatic shield is as vital as any warship. International naval forces have changed the South China Sea's strategic balance. The U.S. Navy's constant presence with carrier strike groups and FONOPs directly challenges China's claims. Major joint exercises in 2025, featuring U.S., Japanese, and French carriers, demonstrate Allied strength near the conflict zone. European powers like France and the UK now deploy carrier groups to the region, signaling global concern. Japan and Australia have ramped up patrols and exercises, building interoperability and collective resolve. These deployments challenge China's narrative and provide vital training and morale boosts for the Philippines. The persistent Allied presence raises the stakes for China, making any aggression riskier. For Manila, seeing Allied warships alongside its own is a powerful reassurance. The world is watching and ready to respond. 2025 has seen a dangerous escalation at sea, especially at Second Thomas Shoal, where the BRP Sierra Madre stands as a symbol of Philippine sovereignty. Chinese Coast Guard and militia vessels have blockaded and harassed Philippine supply boats using water cannons and even ramming tactics. These actions have caused injuries and damage, moving from harassment to direct assault. The Philippines responds with radical transparency, embedding journalists and releasing real-time evidence of Chinese aggression. This strategy has shaped global opinion, putting China on the defensive diplomatically. Each incident risks miscalculation. A single fatal mistake could trigger the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty. Filipino crews show restraint and courage, knowing escalation could be catastrophic. Every successful mission is a victory of willpower, and a step closer to potential conflict. The South China Sea conflict is part of a larger global contest. NATO's growing focus on the Indo-Pacific alarms Beijing, which accuses the alliance of overreach. Western democracies now see challenges from Russia and China as linked fronts in defending the rules-based order. European warships in the region signal that disruptions here have global consequences. Southeast Asian nations, including the Philippines and Malaysia, are deepening cooperation, setting aside disputes to counter China's assertiveness. The South China Sea is now a central square on the global chessboard. For the US and allies, defending Philippine rights is about upholding international principles. For China, it's a test of its ability to reshape the regional order. As of mid-2025, the South China Sea stands as one of the world's most volatile flashpoints, a precarious balance of power, resistance, and high-stakes diplomacy. Tensions simmer just below the surface, with every maneuver and statement closely watched by the international community. China's naval superiority is overwhelming, with a vast fleet and advanced technology. Yet the Philippines leverages asymmetric advantages: transparency, international law, and strong alliances. Their resilience is bolstered by global attention and support, making every encounter a test of resolve. The US alliance network transforms what could be a regional dispute into a major international issue, raising the cost of Chinese aggression. The greatest danger is not just open conflict, but miscalculation, an error in judgment that could spiral out of control. A single deadly incident, an accidental collision, a misinterpreted signal, could trigger the US-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty, escalating a standoff into a superpower conflict with global consequences. The stakes are global. These sea lanes are vital to world trade and security, carrying trillions of dollars in goods each year. Any disruption would send shockwaves through economies far beyond Asia. The standoff is likely to continue, China applying relentless pressure, the Philippines resisting with the backing of its allies. Each side tests the other's limits, searching for advantage without crossing the line into open war. The key question remains, can this fragile equilibrium hold, or will a single spark ignite a wider conflict? The world is watching, and the risks are immense. Every headline, every development is scrutinized by governments, businesses, and ordinary people alike. What do you think of these strategies? Are the current approaches enough to prevent disaster, or is a new path needed? How will this conflict evolve in the coming months and years? Will diplomacy prevail, or will confrontation become inevitable? Share your thoughts in the comments, join the discussion, and keep seeking the truth behind the headlines. Your voice matters in shaping the conversation. The future of the South China Sea and the global order hangs in the balance. The choices made here will echo for generations to come.